Assalamualaikum. Welcome to another edition of Friday Night Live on Friday, the 18th of July. Lost track of the time, but let me start again. Assalamualaikum, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Friday Night Live on Friday, the 18th of July, 2025. I'm your host, Abdul Akbar, and we're beaming out to the good people of Luton and surrounding us tonight, and also to the good people of Sheffield, Nottingham, Derby, Peterborough, and the Midlands through our partner stations across the nation. How is everybody's week going so far? Wow, I've got to say, it's been a very, very warm but also wet week for many of us. And do you know what? I've been watching the news today and also yesterday, and it looks like the Epstein files might actually come out. If you're not familiar with that, of course, I'm talking about Jeffrey Epstein and the controversy surrounding him, because it looks like the long-awaited Epstein files may actually start to get released. And who knows, Donald Trump might actually be on them. But you know what? Tonight's program isn't actually about Donald Trump for once, and it isn't about the Epstein files, and it isn't about the Israel-Gaza war, though I do want to quickly touch on this because it is being announced that the Pope is expressing deep sadness after the Israeli strike today on Gaza church kills 3, believe it or not. So they're not only hitting mosques now, they're also starting to hit churches, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse in that part of the world. But you know what, listeners, I've got to say, first of all, on tonight's program, you may have heard the news, lots of different rumors circulating, and we're going to be tackling a really hot local topic tonight. And we know on Friday Night Live, we like to cover topics that affect the community, not just locally, but also internationally. But we're tackling a hot topic that's causing quite a stir here in Luton, which is the council's potential plan to expand the controversial Red Route scheme, particularly in Bury Park, one of the busiest and most vibrant parts of our town. Now, the council says, and we're going to be speaking to the council in a bit, says it's not about tackling congestion. It's not just about tackling congestion and dangerous parking. There's lots of other things going on as well. Ultimately, the aim is to make our roads safer. What say you? Is this really about safety, or is it about revenue? Will it help clean up the streets or drive people and businesses and worshippers away? Well, guess what? On tonight's program, you can take part on 01582 481 822, because I'm going to be inviting in calls. We're going to take live calls. If you are passionate, we've got 2 lovely councillors in the house, in the studio here in Luton, and we'll be talking to them as well and getting their point of view and why this proposal, this consultation, is about to kick off soon. But guess what? Not only do we have the council, we've got concerned business owners. We've got business owners. We've got people from the Luton Business Forum. We've also got people from the local mosques, and we've also got local business owners as well. So there's quite a lot of people in the studio. I don't think I've seen the studio so packed before. So Luton Business Forum, local business owners, and Luton Council as well. And the mosque as well. And we've also got Zafar Saab in the studio. Assalamu alaikum, Zafar Saab. How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
You didn't park on a red route, did you, when you came to the studio?
Thankfully, there's no red routes on my route here, so I'm okay.
For now.
For now.
But we'll find out from the council what the situation is on that. And actually, before we go to our lovely councillors, let me start off by going to our local Luton business owners, if that's okay with the councillors. We'll hear from the room and the mood in the room, and maybe then we can get the councillors to reply. And Hazel, I know you are time limited, and we're grateful for your time, so we want to make sure we use your time as wisely as possible. But if you need to go, just start waving at me.
I'm here for the duration.
We're grateful for that. We're here for 3 hours. Is that all right? No, I'm just joking.
We could be here for 3 hours. We could be all night.
Lovely. All right. Well, let's keep our mics very close to us when we're talking, everyone, so that we can hear everyone. Just keep those mics nice and close to you so that I can hear you. So let me start off. First of all, let's go to brothers Ilyas and Riaz, who are in the studio, and let's start off just by getting your reactions to the proposed Red Route scheme. What's your understanding of what's going on and what's about to happen potentially?
Okay, I think firstly, it's very important to state that Bury Park is very busy, very vibrant. It's the biggest high street in Bedfordshire, and we can't undermine that. That's the first point. If red route happens in Luton and Bury Park, it would cause the downfall of Bury Park, and that's really important to point out first. Now, the reason for red route, now we know Bury Park is vibrant, a lot of people go there. It does get congested, because people want to go there. But red route is not the answer. The reason why it gets congested is the buses stop on the roads.
Very, very interesting.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. The businesses are extremely worried about the red route proposal. They're very anxious. They need to know why it has been introduced. The council have asserted that it's been introduced to reduce traffic, congestion, etc., and road safety. However, the businesses are not convinced of that argument because they believe there is an alternative. And the businesses have already canvassed with the council, engaged with the council about the alternatives, and they hopefully will be fully considered by the council. So we look forward to a substantive engagement with the council.
Okay, well, we'll come back to that. I want to dive a bit deeper into what you gents have just said, but thank you for that initial representation. Of course, I would love to dive in a bit deeper, but let's go to the next person here. So would you mind introducing yourself and just telling us what
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zillur Rahman. I'm the chairman of Bury Park Residents Association. I lived in Bury Park for all my UK life here since 1987. And it's come alive and it's now become very heavily populated.
Nearly, how long is that? 30 years?
Yeah, 30 years plus.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. The local residents have been suffering for a very long time. Bury Park is very run down, and unfortunately, the Bury Park residents didn't have a voice. So individually, they complained to the council about issues. Unfortunately, people who park in the corner of the road, it is very dangerous. We had an incident where Ivy Road, a brother had a minor stroke. The ambulance couldn't go in. Now, if he had a major heart attack, 30 seconds, it makes a lot of difference. So this is why we don't have no issue with the number of traffics. We have issue of illegal parking. So we've been writing and asking the council to enforce the parking element of it, because the residents are getting fed up. I mean, if you get into the road, you have to reverse all the way out because you cannot turn because people are parked on the double yellow line. And sometimes we have on the corners, and I can have images on my phone I can share with all of you guys afterwards, where car park half parked on the Dunstable Road, half on that road. And it's very crazy. And it cannot continue because the quality of life is deteriorating in the area. Pollution, air quality, and all the other elements of it. Unfortunately, the people who own the business don't live in the area, so they don't understand the experience, the living condition of the people.
So are you advocating red route?
I'm advocating the solution to the problem, which we ask for the council to, because they are the people who is the authority. So if that's what it takes to alleviate the suffering of the people, because we've been suffering. The Bury Park Residents Association was formed very recently. There was no Bury Park Residents Association, so there was no voice.
Sure. But are you saying, just to clarify, you're saying that there needs to be a solution, that parking is an issue, but you're not sure what that solution might be?
The solution, because I have spoken to the council and they're saying red route would alleviate it, because they can have 24-hour enforcement. So come like 7 o'clock, the traffic warden is no longer there. People parking willy-nilly. And the incident of the ambulance couldn't get in, that happened almost just before 10 o'clock.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, we've got business owners sitting next to you that are completely against red route and think that it will affect business and footfall in the area. But you're saying as residents, you know what? People aren't following the rules.
The reason being is, look, listen, the red route does not eliminate or take away any parking whatsoever. What it does is enforces the law. So we don't live in the law of jungle. We live in a civilized society. We're civilized people. We understand each other's needs and concerns, and we need to address it. So as civilized society, I want to be able to go into my road without having to reverse back out again because people are double parked on both sides. So red route, if that's what it takes to alleviate their suffering. Okay.
So you're not against red route.
Sorry,
you're not against. Red
no,
route.
I wouldn't be against red route because that's what we've been liaising with the council, and they said, look, only way to enforce the law Because look, at the end of the day, unfortunately,
But let
human
me
beings
just,
are
let
creatures
me
of
just go back to
habits.
the small business owners representatives here. So we have somebody representing the residents of Bury Park saying, hey, do you know what, red route might actually be okay because people aren't following the rules when they come to park on Bury Park Road, right? So what do you want to say to that? And he's sitting right next to you. So how would you respond to him? Please go ahead.
So the red route, the context of the red route,
Gee.
I mean, Junabai lives on one corner and he's got problems on one of the corners. Yeah. The red route starts from the Esso petrol station, goes through the main bazaar with its 200 shops, goes up Leagrave Road, goes round to Bury Park Road. So you've got 5 masjids, 3 churches, and a community centre. So you got to consider, what other people. So it's nice to have a resident here, but you've got maybe a masjid there. He can speak on how it affects the masjid. So it consists of everything. Businesses, the whole area. All people want to go to the masjid. So, for example, Allah Jansi, my dad's passed away. I used to drop him off at the masjid. Now, if he was alive, I have to drop him off the road. I said, Dad, I can't go in. So this is the context we are dealing with red route. You're not dealing with corners. You're dealing for the whole of the whole area. So he would say to me, Putter, I can't go to the mosque to pray janazah. I'll go to the house to do Fatiha. This is what you're dealing with now. So it's businesses, people can't go there and go to their businesses anymore. So yes, corners, I get it. But let's look at the bigger context. Where does red route begin and where does it end and who does it affect?
Thank you for sharing that. So I'll come back to
May
the
I-
residents in a second, but in a moment. But let me go to the brothers here. So brothers, if you can just state your name and what you're representing today. Thank you.
Yeah, hello. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay.
My name is Hisham. I'm a member of the local masjid, Kokni Masjid. Just a disclaimer, this is my personal opinions, right? We all have, as a committee, various opinions on the issues that are within Bury Park. But as just like the other residents and the businesses and the mosque, we're all residents. And we're all collectively responsible for the behaviors that go on within Bury Park and the issues and how we address these issues. There are multiple issues here. They're not just one issue here. There's not just one. What we do need to consider are the knock-on consequences of any plan that the council put together. We've all got responsibilities within the society, within this community. We continue to advise our musallis to park responsibly. And we know some don't and some will, right? However, that's our responsibility to make sure that we try to have adequate parking where we can. And we also try to enforce our
What
own
about
morals
red
and
route,
manners.
though? Tell me about red route. Are you and you think that the mosques would be opposed to the red route? Because we've just heard from the business owners that actually red route could affect footfall and therefore drive down revenue for those businesses that have worked hard potentially to establish themselves, and now customers won't be coming. What about worshippers? Are you concerned about worshippers?
So yes, we are, right? The issue is, we have a lot of congestion. It slows down people coming into Bury Park anyhow. That's bad for everybody, right? Bad for the businesses, bad for us, and bad for the residents because congestion causes pollution, right? We have to consider the knock-on consequences of what red route would do. It's no magic wand, right? Where does that traffic go? Does it go into the side roads? Does it make life worse for the residents? Does it fill up Bury Park Road, for example, where we're on? How will that impact there? So what we're in favour of is a full consultation with the council, and I think we're nearly there on that. We get all the views and have some proposals, and we can look at those proposals and look reasonably at them and say, look, there's things that have happened in the past that have they actually improved Bury Park? Has, for example, moving the buses into the main road and not having bus stops, has that improved the traffic flow? Has that increased the pollution? What has that done? And what alternatives are there? And are the businesses doing their part? Are people encroaching on the pavements too much, etc.? All of these things and enforcement. Yeah,
Sure. Thank you for
there's
that.
many there.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yep, Assalamu alaikum. My name's Zach. I'm also part of the Bury Park Residents Association and another local residents group. I'm very much pro red route. Like my colleague Jill Lurbai said, the parking spaces aren't going anywhere. It's for Dunstable Road, for what I understand, details to be confirmed. The situation for residents is untenable. It is completely untenable, right? There are visitors. We know it's a shopping area, so we have to kind of respect people visiting here, but we live here. We're here 24/7. We're not here for a drop-in visit, right? The worshippers come to the mosque, to the area, shoppers from outside of town, from other parts of Luton. They park inconsiderately, they block driveways, they block the driveway of family members of people sitting here, block garages, they do all sorts, right? And businesses have had no regard. I'll be honest, a number of businesses have no regard for residents. I know buses have been mentioned here. They've been potentially scapegoated to some extent. There are delivery trucks who come and just park on Dunstable Road and they block traffic. Many delivery trucks come to businesses on Dunstable Road. Nothing has been mentioned or said about them. For some reason, it's the bus's fault, right? Businesses, they go over their highways lines, right? They encroach on pavements. Lee Grave Road, can I just say, is an absolute mess leading up to the Selborne Road. You can't walk up that side where Town Tub, Rank Pharmacy are. You've got mothers with prams, people with mobility scooters having to go out onto the road because that double yellow line stretch is ignored completely.
Let me ask you this
right?
question: Are you not concerned about displacement though? Because if you think about it, if there is a red route, I know we have no decision has been made, and we'll let the council kind of confirm that. But imagine the recommendation was red route. Isn't it the case, as has been suggested, that cars will just be displaced into the inner roads and make it worse for the inner roads?
Sure. So the situation on the inner roads is already a disgrace. It's already a mess. So I'm just wondering, how could you get a nightmare situation even worse? It's already like we're at boiling point. Residents have had enough. Bury Park Road, Moore Street from a certain restaurant. I won't, no one's here to defend themselves.
So you're backing my point, though, which what I'm saying is actually it's going to get even worse than with red route.
But if there's no more spaces, how could it get worse?
Well, they're going to park in the middle of the road.
Yeah. Well, the police will come and deal with that, right? But can I just say, also, it's the religious institutions have to do their part, right? They have to. You can't expand religious institutions without finding parking solutions. And also, my ask for Hazel and Councillor Hussein here, Councillor Simmons and Hussein are here, is we need more parking options. So we're not just saying yes, red route, and this is the end.
Yeah.
We want to hear or see more options that will benefit everybody. But I just want to say that parking is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That the parking on Dunstable Road, by the way, businesses often block those. So how could their customers come and use them if their cars are parked on the parking space all day?
Okay.
Right?
Thank you for that. I
Okay.
really appreciate that. Before we go to the councillors, let me go ahead and thank everyone just for joining us in the studio. And listeners, you are tuned into Friday Night Live with me, Abdul Akbar, and Zafar Iqbal. We're talking about the situation in Bury Park. And if you're not familiar, Bury Park is a very popular part of Luton town. It's got a lot of the Asian shops, a lot of the Muslim community, I would say, congregate around there, and also some of the non-Muslims as well. And it can get very, very busy. I mean, I would say, Bury Park is like the South Hall of Luton. It's a really lovely, diverse, vibrant part of Luton, but it can get a bit busy, as we're hearing. But the question is red route the solution? We've got business owners here saying, actually, no, it's not the solution. It's going to affect footfall and therefore affect revenue. But we've got residents saying, you know what, we're fed up. We've got cars everywhere and we can't park our own vehicles, let alone get out of our houses and go where we need to go. So a very challenging situation, Zafar. Let me get your thoughts on this before we go to the councillors who have been patiently listening.
I think some very pertinent points have been made by all parties here. There isn't a simple solution. What I want to say is that there are aspects of behavior change that are needed from my perspective. And I quote the example of parking at the cemetery. I go there quite often, to be honest.
Where's that? Stopsley?
Stopsley Cemetery. So there you have a classic case. There's plenty of parking. There's no restrictions on road parking. There is car parks there, etc. But people choose to park on the roundabout. They choose to park on the roundabout.
There was an idiot in Stopsley recently, nearly parked on a grave.
Yes, and they do park on the graves as well. So that behavior is disgusting behavior, and that needs to be challenged. That needs to be corrected, right? However, I've actually stopped going into Bury Park, right, because it's really difficult to get into and out of. And if you do get into it, there's nowhere to park. And if you're going to park out of desperation, right, you'll find any spot to park and you'll park your car there. That's the situation you've got, right? Is there is a limited parking. I can understand the views of the residents. I think residents want a quality of life, the business people want, their business to flourish. And the only way that you're going to do that is if people are allowed to come and they are allowed to park somewhere.
Do you know what it is? Berry Park. You know how much it costs to buy a mango there now? We've got the business owners here. We've got to talk about the price of mangoes.
£20 a box, basically. Yeah.
Oh my God!
My wife goes there. I don't. Yeah. So I think there needs to be out of the box solutions. If you lived in Luton long enough, you'll understand that the current road layout was changed. There were bays basically for the buses before. There were bays there for the businesses, deliveries, etc. That for some reason, the buses. That for some reason was they were removed, and so it looks like the revised solution hasn't fixed the original problem that was intended to. So maybe there needs to be a rethinking of the structure of the parking situation.
Thank you. Sorry, what were you saying?
There were also 3 lanes on Dunstable Road.
Fair enough. Yeah. So all right, councillors, your turn now. So we've got 5 minutes before we take the break. But so forgive me if I interrupt you. We'll continue after the break. But let's start with Councillor Hazel Simmons, who's leader of the council as well. We're delighted to have you back here, Councillor Hazel. Let's get your reactions to what you've heard so far.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum everybody, and thank you very much to Inspire to give me the opportunity to come on to the radio and clear up some of the misinformation that's been out there about the council having already decided on a red route. We haven't. We never intended to come out and just tell you this is what we're going to do. What we always do with the community in this town is consult. And what this is, what we are trying to do is a proper consultation with you about a way of trying to deal with some of the ongoing issues in Berry Park. We all know the parking and the driving and the issues there can't just carry on. We've got to try and find some solutions to that. And that's what Javed is leading on. The Labour group took the decision that we would go out and as part of that would be included a red route. But it's part of a consultation with you. And some of the points being made by the residents here, they're quite right. They've been raising these issues with us, and we have to deal with them.
But Hazel, let me ask you this quickly before we go on to the red route specifically in Berry Park, which I can feel the passion, not just in this room, in the studio, but actually across the social media, and some of it might be misinformation, and I hear you on that. People get passionate and sometimes may exaggerate claims, etc. But just give us a quick historical overview of Berry Park, because for people who are listening, tuning in, wondering what is Berry Park, and has it got busier over the years, and why has it got busier, would you say?
I think it's a thriving area, isn't it? It's absolutely thriving.
A victim of his own
don't want
success
to
almost.
alter any of that. It's successful. And we don't want to alter that. It's open into the evenings. It's a safe area for people to go. It's a thriving area and it's grown. And nobody wants to take away that economic growth that's happened in the town. We're very proud of Berry Park. But we also have to be adults and talk about the issues within Berry Park. We've got people living there. We've got businesses there. We've got transport that wants to come through it. And we've got to find ways of making all that happen.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be easy. It's a difficult solution. And none of the solutions will be easy solutions. But the whole point of the consultation was to have a grown-up debate with people. And unfortunately, information got out there and it's upset the community, and I'm really upset about that, because the council never does anything unless it talks to you first. So we wouldn't do anything here. So it categorically tell you that there's no plans to do a red route. We will talk about a red route as part of a consultation on the buses, on the turn that you've always been wanting us to look at. We'll do a whole consultation on that we as a grown-up community can talk about what's the best solution in the short term and the long term for Berry Park. And that's really, I'm very grateful of having the opportunity to come on and put that right, because of so much of the stuff that's been on social media and the meetings we went to yesterday. I just want to clarify that.
All right, so I want to dive deeper into this, but we're about to take a very short break. I know Councillor Javed wants to come in as well, who's owning this on behalf of the council as well. So who's kind of into the details and the weeds. So councillor, get ready for an interrogation from the room, but in a positive, constructive way. We want this to be positive and constructive, as Councillor Hazel is suggesting, and we will be, and I know the gents here in the room will be as well. But listeners, this is Friday Night Live with me, Abdul Akbar, and Zafar Iqbal. We're talking about the potential changes to one of the busiest, most vibrant parts of Luton, Bury Park, and potentially surrounding areas. It is getting busy over there, and the question is, how do we keep the residents happy? How do we keep the business owners happy? How do we keep people who are visiting the area, to consume goods and buy goods and worship at the local mosques? How do we keep everyone happy, safe, and just be able to enjoy the environment? That's the challenge that Councillor Javed and Councillor Hazel Simmons face. I wouldn't like to be in their shoes, frankly speaking. But listen, this is Friday Night Live. We're about to take a very short break, and we'll be right back after these messages. Of course, it's going to be warm this weekend. We'll be talking about that as well. Stay tuned. We'll be right back at Friday Night Live.
This program will continue after the break. Continue listening to Inspire FM. Inspire FM. Inspire 105.1 FM.
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, Shaitan puts 3 knots at the back of the head of any of you if he's asleep. On every knot, he reads and exhales the following words: the night is long, so stay asleep. When one wakes up and remembers Allah, the first knot is undone. And when one performs ablution, the second knot is undone. And when one prays salah, the third knot is undone. From Sahih al-Bukhari.
Did you see that guy on TV?
What, that no comment guy?
Yeah, he was sick. What was his name?
I think it was Atiq Malik.
Yeah, Atiq Malik of Liberty Law Solicitors. Atiq Malik heads up the criminal law team at Liberty Law Solicitors, specialising in everything from serious crime down to road traffic offences.
To find out more or for a free telephone consultation, call 01582 459955.
Liberty Law, there when you need us most.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. This is your brother Islam Yasir Qadi. I'm visiting Luton for the first time. This is a shout out to all of my brothers and sisters in Luton. My advice to myself and all of you is to always be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to realize that we will have to answer for all that we do. So be conscious of Allah, practice your faith with ihsan, be good to everybody out there, and love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, study his seerah and try to be as righteous as you can. Every day is a new day. Every beginning is a new beginning. Every dawn is a new opportunity to come closer to Allah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cause us all to live as righteous Muslims and to die as righteous believers. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A large and elegant wedding and events venue in the heart of Luton, catering for up to 1,200 guests, with a 5-star food hygiene rating, plenty of parking, bridal suite, family rooms and prayer facilities. Crescent Hall's the perfect venue for your wedding, events, parties and conferences. We have some great offers for summer. Contact us to find out more. Call 01582 723386. Email bookings@crescenthall.co.uk or search for us online and social media. Crescent Hall Luton. Conditions apply.
Extend your hand to the needy and lift them out of poverty. Open your heart and heal broken hearts. Every meal and every sip of clean water we take for granted is a gift that countless others dream of. Continue making a difference to the lives of the needy. Call Families Relief now on 0114 365 4454 or visit familiesrelief.org.uk.
Oh, Hillary, I was going to use newspaper display advertising.
But
it costs £10 per inch.
And that's too expensive.
Oh, indeed it is. I want to sell a 10-foot ladder.
Oh, Roger, invest in an ear-catching advertising campaign on this radio station instead. It's a great way to tell people about your products and service.
For details, click on inspirefm.org, then advertise. From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 6:30.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to part 2 of tonight's edition of Friday Night Live on Friday, the 18th of July, 2025. I'm your host, Abdul Akbar, joined in the studio by Zafar Barsab as well. And guess what? We're beaming out to the good people of Luton and surrounding areas tonight, and also to the good people of Sheffield, Nottingham, Derby, Peterborough, and the Midlands through our partner stations across the nation. So welcome to everyone tuned in. And if you're just joining us, we're in a very heated discussion between residents, business owners, and the council. I wouldn't say heated, but I would say it's cordially heated. But we've had a good discussion so far. We've heard from all the various stakeholders, I would say, in Bury Park, and we're going to go to the council now. Councillor Javed, who is the main operational person that's leading this investigation on behalf of Luton Borough Council. We've also heard from the leader of Luton Borough Council, Councillor Hazel Simmons, who gave us her desire to make sure this is as constructive and as peaceful as possible, so that we can make progress like grown-up adults, right? So, Councillor Jade, let me go straight to you. So you've heard what residents and business owners and other stakeholders have had to say. First of all, just tell me what are the options on the table, and can you guarantee there's going to be a red route in Bury Park?
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. So let me first reiterate this point. No decision on any red route has been made. No detailed design drawing has been completed. Yes, there's been a draft, but no detailed. We're going to have a statutory 6-week consultation, which everyone will meet with all the stakeholders, and everybody will be entitled to make their views.
How can they make their views heard?
So we'll be having online, and we'll be having drop-in surgeries, so that you can come in and see the paper, because not everybody has access to social media. Not everybody's PC literate. So we will have both electronic versions where you can make your comments known. We will also do drop-in sessions for people to see the plans and make their comments. And obviously we'll be at hand to make a note of what the view of the consensus. Let me make it very clear. Us in here will not make that decision. It'll be made by the majority. Why are we doing it? So if 2003 was when, under another administration, the Bury Park parts were widened. Now we've lived with that concession, but the issue has been is over the lot. So now, just to give you some stats, the population in Luton is 232,000. We have 80,089 or 200 homes here. Say 80,000. The issue we've got 90,000 cars of residents in Luton, and that doesn't even take into account the company vehicles or nothing. Now, I've received numerous complaints about parking issues in Bury Park from both residents, from bus companies, from other people who need to go to their hospital appointments, need to just use it. Because remember one thing, through Bury Park, people go to Dunstable Road, they go to Marsh Road, League Road. So it's they don't just go for shopping. People need to travel through there. So there's a number of issues. Now, this complaint has been going on for a long time. I've heard a lot of complaints from the business forum, that lack of parking, that there's a suitable car park. I mean, because obviously this is a council decision. It's not a Java decision. Obviously, that's been very fair. It's been out there just because I happen to be the portfolio holder, and previous portfolio holders of the business are here. So I'm not lying behind anybody's back. It's been talked about. Previous, at least 3 portfolio holders have talked about it. But that's the issue. The residents are absolutely fed up with constantly, because they come in and say, hold on, you've been talking to us for the last 10 years. When are you actually doing it? So this time around, we've taken a decision to try and alleviate the traffic, the congestion, and reduce the pollution through Bury Park.
Sorry to interrupt you, but let me put this to you. If a competent person was listening to what you've just said, I don't think anyone in the room would disagree with anything you've just said so far. Here's the issue that I'm sensing, which is we all know that Bury Park is thriving, vibrant, insert really positive phraseology there about Bury Park. We all know it's busy, extremely busy at certain times. So why hasn't the council foreseen this over the years? And why hasn't the council created adequate provision 10 plus, 20 plus years ago if this stuff was coming? So surely this is a failure on the part of the council to foresee
that this demand is going to be there and building up, and therefore create the necessary planning for car parking? Because right now you've got Nadeem Plaza right opposite it, right? There's a little parking area pane display. It's a bit of a disaster, wouldn't you say?
Excellent. I'm really pleased you asked me this question, because hindsight is one thing. Hindsight is brilliant. Is a nice thing.
But it's not hindsight. You could forecast the footfall. No?
So we could have, but what we didn't realize how successful the Bury Park business, again, as the business forum people have already alluded to, the representatives, it's been a success. It's been far more, and it's succeeded. But we can't go over it. So let's address the parking. So you're right. Ideally, before Nadeem Plaza, if we put a car park there, that would have been brilliant, because that would have been right back in the middle of the town, right in the heart of Bury Park. I mean, so it's there. It would have served the businesses. It would have served the residents. But what we've got to look at, where are we today? So as a portfolio holder, I've only been in the post since the last 2 years. So just to make that clear. So I'm now trying to address something that's there. It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So you've just said about the parking. So let's just reiterate. So Sainsbury's, and I shouldn't say this because it's their private, but at the moment they allow you to park for 90 minutes, free 90 minutes. We could have further discussions. In a partnership, we could talk to them about making it more pay and display. Maybe we could take some of the land off them, but we've got to have that discussion. This is what that consultation needs to lead to. Is it all in Bury Park? They allow 90 minutes, but you've got to go in and spend 50p or £1 on a suite to verify your ticket. Come back a bit further. Instead of in front of the Christian Fellowship next to KFC, you've got 10 paid parking spaces. Then you've got the places by Nirala, you've got that car park. You've got the small car park by Prompt Move. You've also got a car park next to CYCD. Now, as you've alluded quite correctly, so you've also got one next to Tiger Cars by AA Carpets. Inside, you've got a small car park. So that's the option. But then I've lived here for 46 years. Now, I have actually tried to engage with the business forum and this lot, and I keep getting the brush off. And this is how I feel. So
what about Luton Town Football Club car park as well?
I'm going to come on to that.
Okay.
So I'm coming to that. So Luton Town Football Club is 110 on Hazelbury Crescent. They did give it to them to the Bury Park residents, but people didn't want to walk that far. Let's be honest. People want to park right outside in your front door. So
a bit like Raoul Brindley, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's the culture we get.
That's part of the issue.
No, so just I'm conscious of the time. I want to get this point across, because that's why I'm here, because I've had a lot of. I've had a lot of contact from people, a lot of instigation, almost intimidation, which is not right, because I'm only trying to do the right thing. For
You've had intimidation, have you?
Of course, I've had intimidation. Yeah.
What sort of intimidation?
Oh, you will threaten, you will deselect, you will do this. Well, every election, everybody has a choice, right? So let's. I don't like the bullying.
You've got a tough job.
Yeah, it's a tough job, because parking is always going to be tough, because it's such an emotive subject. So the football club's got 110 spaces. Now, I've had a chat with Michael Moran about this. And they said, look, Javid, we can do it, but who's going to take the responsibility of antisocial behavior, any fly tipping, any drug taking, and who's going to ensure that on the match day, when needed the day before at night, it's going to be clear. So we can definitely build on that conversation. Now, I've also spoken to the owner of Curzon Hall. He's got 45 spaces. He's not got weddings all the time. Now, his property, so I can't speak for any of these private. But again, we could talk to him to say, well, would you be open to that? Now, that's a question. He's in his right to say no. Then we got Kojic, we've got 25 spaces. The church only use it on a Sunday, so why couldn't we talk to them? It's got to be a partnership now. Then, if you remember, Zafar, I don't know if you've been here long enough, it used to be Texas, now Bundu Khan next to Kokchai. Now they've got a car park which has got 50 spaces. I was at the back. Now I was naive enough to go back there and climb up dangerous just to have a look at it. So basically, it's in an unsafe position. Now, I'm happy for us to work with Hazel, with the corporate director, to say, we'll take that over, we'll spend £1 million or whatever it needs to rebuild it. But obviously, for us to rebuild it, and we're gonna recoup that money, because we cannot spend people's council tax money subbing the business. So we can rebuild it, but then we charge it on parking. But we want 30 years to be able to recuperate the money.
I hear you. Councillor Joe, stay there, because we've got some callers on the line. So let me start off by going to caller one. Walayat is on the line. Assalamu alaikum, Walayat. You're live on the radio.
Walaikum Assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you for joining us. Let me just make sure that the people here in the studio can also hear you. So go ahead. What's your concern?
Okay, my friend is been through quite a bit today. We had a meeting yesterday with Javed and the chief exec and the council leader yesterday. So Javed knows exactly what's happening. And I'm a bit surprised he's saying that people are trying to threaten him. Well, this is not right. Why should somebody threaten him? It's got nothing to do with him. So I want to broaden that out when I see him. I want to know exactly who's threatening him, why they're threatening him, because it's got nothing to do with him. It's the council. They got a policy out and they put him in the front now. And I did suggest to Javed, look, don't take this as personal, right? Don't make it as personal. Think it's your baby or whatever. But just say you're leading on it because the council told you, which he knows now. But let's get back to the things Javed said. Mashallah, he said a lot now that the council is going to go out looking for car spaces for us. And they're going to start in partnership with many private places in Bury Park, which is good. That's what we were asking for. The other thing is that he knows.
What's your concern here? Get to the point.
Okay,
if you don't
my
mind,
concern
please.
is, Javed knows exactly what's happened. The road was so wide. We had many car spaces parks on Dunsford Road, but the council, going back in 2004-5, they changed the road layout. And at that time, we had so many meetings in Bury Park, and we kept telling people that were leading this project, that you're doing it wrong. You're going to mess this road up. They didn't believe us, right? So once they messed it up, they tried to rectify it. But guess what? Listening to the bus company, moving the bus stops in the middle of the road.
What's the solution from your perspective? Like, what are you saying the council needs to do now?
That we need the red route is a no. You want to help nobody. I'm going to take, whenever I get involved with Javed and other people with the council, I'll take him to all the side roads. I'll show him what's happening. Bury Park, Dunsford Road, Bury Park Road is very, blocked up. But Dunsford Road is always open. So he'll know the red route's not going to be the solution for this. So he needs to first move the bus stops into bus laybys, where they go in and they're not blocking the traffic, the traffic flow. Secondly, he knows, we got over 200 businesses in Bury Park. They all get deliveries, and some of the shops, some of the businesses get 32-ton lorries, 42-ton lorries.
Thank you, Walid. Wait, I'm going to leave it there, but let me take that to Councillor Javed. So, Councillor Javed, two things I've heard quickly. I've just summarised those. So, buses, they keep getting in the way. Do buses have to go through Bury Park? Why can't they divert around somewhere or stop before they enter Bury Park? Do they have to go that route? Number one. Number two, some good points being made about deliveries as well, and delivery drivers. Obviously, there's grocery shops, there's there's restaurants on the road. They have to replenish their stocks, so those trucks have to park somewhere. Should those trucks be coming out of hours, like maybe in the middle of the night when there's less traffic, rather than during the day when there's peak hours and making the congestion even worse? Over to you.
Thank you. So I'm not advocating for the red route, but I'm just going to explain some of the myths here, the fallacy. So part of any red route, we would absolutely not make sure that we had loading bays. Loading bays would be exempt in certain times. So you'd get your deliveries at certain times, to your point. So we'd work with the community worker, because night as well, we don't want to be disturbing residents. So we need to strike a balance. In terms of disabled persons, we will be, and every road be looking to add disabled bay. So we are going to actually increase the provision. That's going to be in the plan. Not advocating here, but by the way, I'm just clarifying, because people haven't seen the plan. It hasn't come out. That's when the drawing is going to be drawn up. Drawings are not drawn up yet. They will have more loading bays. They will have more parking provisions. But the existing parking bays, if even on a red route, if you're parked in there, you will not get a ticket. The only way you can get a ticket if you are parked on Legal Road, where the double yellow, where you should not be parking.
Thank you.
What's the difference between red? Red allows us to use cameras rather than have people there, which is what. So
I was
it's
going to ask you about that.
So that's the legal definition of that.
So what you're saying is, because one of the things we heard from the room here, the studio here, was enforcement. there's not enough enforcement. Because when you said disabled bays, you could imagine you could paint all of Bury Park Road, right, with disabled bays. People are going to violate them because those disabled bays are only as good as the enforcement. Would you agree with that? So
Absolutely.
if there's no one to enforce, people are going to park. Even now, I guarantee people are parked there illegally on a disabled bay because they're quickly popping into a shop to pick up some laddus and some mangoes, right? So,
if I can answer that.
Yeah.
So please, may I answer that? So this is important.
So Red Route can have cameras. Is that what you're saying?
Red Route can have cameras.
Okay.
It can have exemptions for disabled people on the cameras. They can see those cameras are sophisticated cameras. They can see if you display your badge for your disabled blue badge, they won't send you a ticket. But what it does, and this is the thing, people like me who decide I'm going to pop in, I'm going to park on a loading bay. I go in and I go off shopping for half an hour. In the meantime, the poor delivery person comes in. He's got 5 deliveries, or he or she has got deliveries to make. Guess what? They're going to park in the middle of the road. They're going to offload. And in the meantime, that creates a lot of congestion for both the emergency services. So could you imagine ambulances, fire brigade, the police, the blue services have approached us and told us we need to come up with a traffic plan.
But what about the businesses? Because we've got the business owners in here. They are going to be worried about footfall. So where do their customers park? And it comes back to your whole solutioning around and places of worship. What's the solution for parking spaces then? So Red Route sounds interesting from an enforcement point of view, right? Because you can use cameras and automate that, and maybe have someone sitting in a control center, right?
But so we need to develop the parking, and so a lot of time the Kenilworth Road has been mooted. So let me just be honest with you. So Kenilworth Road could be looked at.
Kenilworth Road as in Luton Football Club.
Luton Football Club, but hold on, they're not 28, 29 before they move. Then demolition, and I ask you the question really because as somebody, they've got to park up the top there. Are you really going to carry your bags up into that car park? Isn't it a bit too far when Bundu Khan is next to the community centre? Isn't in the heart of Bury Park? The Conservative Club is in the heart of Bury Park. The Sainsbury's is at one end, but it's hard. Now, on the bus users, let me tell you one thing. We could get the figures. So many of the people I know from Dunstable Road, and if you really want to test it, take away the bus services for 1 week. So otherwise, the bus company, the reason the bus companies keep stop. So we maybe, and I'm not saying this shouldn't be the reason why we shouldn't look like putting the bus, because Hazel's here and we're on live on TV. We should look at it, but their reasoning was, rightly or wrongly, is that people do not let us back out, and we can't keep to our timetable schedules because people don't let us out because it's such a busy area, such a vibrant area. But again, these are the discussions. But main thing, guess what this has generated? This Red Route policy now has generated more conversations in the last week or so. And where have we been? The problem with Bury Park has been escalated.
Well, surely as a councillor, you're going to be applauding that the community is involved and they want to have a say in the future of Bury Park, right?
Absolutely.
You're applauding that. At the same time, obviously it's more work for you.
Doesn't matter.
That's okay,
That's
right?
what I signed up for.
All right, stay there for a second. So I want to get another call on the line. And we've got one more call who's been waiting patiently. Then I want to come back to the studio for your reactions to what you've heard from the councillors, okay? Caller on the line. And we've got, I think, Ali on the line. Ali, you there? Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, Sanko.
Yeah, go ahead, Ali. What's your point? And make it quick, please.
Okay, my question is about the weddings, about the Red Route, on if that's going to take place. What are we doing with the weddings?
Ali Bhai, you've got a shadi coming up?
What was that?
Are you getting married soon?
Nah, no.
Just checking. All right, so good question, the councillor, about weddings. Like weddings happen often. Don't get me started on the fireworks, by the way.
I'm not going to go there
because that's another story.
So-
but weddings, what are we going to do about those? Good question.
So weddings and funeral hearses will have exemptions. We will not ticket. We are not that. These are one-off. So the weddings coming off, dropping the groom off, and the cortege for a little while, dropping off is fine, but they can't stay on yellow lines causing obstruction. So nothing. So that's fine. So weddings are covered. They will have exemptions, but not to drop off the bride to move on. But they can't just stay in the middle of the road on double yellow lines.
You know,
so the exemptions are there.
Yeah.
Also, the exemption will be for funerals. Now, I want to also address
There's a few of those as well happening every
funeral
day as
hearses.
well.
Yeah. So we are conscious. But one thing I want to address here. So Central Mosque has got a car park where elderly people can be dropped off. We do that from our parents. You can be dropped off on Westbourne Road. Cockney Mosque has a car park. This is why when they went for planning permission, they said we've got certain part planning, and others would come walking in the area. Jalalabad Mosque has got parking where people could drop off. Bury Park Masjid has got parking that could be dropped off. Oak Road parks in at the top of there. So, and by the way, just to make sure, on Dunsborough Road, I keep saying Dunsborough Road, we are not going Dunsborough Road. We're only going to where the prompt opposite, just before the zebra crossing on Dunsborough. We're not going any further than that. So it is not going on Dunsborough Road. So just to clear that, yeah.
Thank you for that.
And just the mosques users. We drop my paper. Proposal. Proposal is not even going. That's what the proposal. No, but
Councillor Javed, you've been really gracious and you've been really transparent as well. I'm
yeah,
grateful
it's
for
a
that.
proposal.
So let me go back to the room here and just get the mood in the room, because so let's start with the business owners first of all. Your reactions to what you've heard from the good councillors here, is that convincing and does that alleviate your concerns, or do you still have some concerns? In the mic, please.
I have a lot of concerns. First of all, Councillor Simmons mentioned having a grown-up engagement, and I'm very concerned by her response to that. For the past 4 years, we've been having grown-up conversations as the Bury Park Business Forum with Luton Borough Council, and Councillor Simmons has been in the middle of it. However, they have not taken any of our submissions effectively serious at all.
So let me take that to her. Councillor Simmons, you haven't taken the business representatives' feedback serious at all. What your response?
We have taken them back, and our highways team have looked at them, and the issues around the buses. Javed explained to you the concern that if we the buses go back into lay-bys, you may find there are no buses. You know, Arriva may not want to come down there because that will put a difficulty on their they get fined for the speed. I'm not saying that's not a reason to do it.
Yes.
I'm just saying we have to, when you're looking at all of these, you have to take all the repercussions of the decision you might make.
So that could impact business owners because there's no buses coming in. There's less people coming into shop that don't have cars. I mean, your reactions to that?
Well, my reaction to that is, Councillor Simmons, is that there were more representations that not only dealt with the buses, that we advocated other areas of lay-bys where the buses could come in. And if the buses could come in, then they can naturally go out using those lanes because they will have a space that drifts into another area, and that will not stop the buses from going in or out. I will not stop them.
Right.
So that was an option.
Thank you for that, Councillor.
That can be part of the consultation. We'll look at that.
No, but this was discussed 2 years ago
I
yourself.
understand.
And a real responsible organisation, Luton Borough Council, should have taken on board 2 years ago. And now we have the mess that we are in now. And now what the brother here, Jilu, has said about the corner issue. The corner issue is an enforcement issue because the corners have double yellow lines. The council should be sending enforcement officers, and the council has failed to do that. And that is only an ad hoc policy when the problems flare up, and only then the council takes notice.
Thank you for that. I mean,
I just want to say this question of enforcement and red lines and enforcement using cameras, etc. I'm old enough to remember that if you went to Tesco's when it used to be where Sainsbury's is, if you parked illegally, right, you wouldn't go 30 minutes without getting a ticket, right? So couldn't you get enforcement now with greater footfall from the enforcement officers, perhaps, rather than Red Route?
We've only got a couple of minutes left, so I want to thank you for that point, Zafar.
Thank you.
Let me go to the residents very quickly. So, residents, over to you quickly.
Hi, can I just say, appreciate the point about the buses. I don't hear anything from the business forum about the delivery trucks. The buses are being scapegoated here. And also, just to go back to what Councillor Hussein said, right? This is about deterrence. As residents, we need actual deterrence. So from my perspective, the Red Route is a deterrent because the cameras are there, right? The businesses take up spaces, parking spaces that their customers can use. They're there every Saturday, every Sunday, during the week. What are the businesses doing?
Businesses, do you want to respond to that? You're shaking your head.
Yes, thank you. Unfortunately,
in the mic, please.
Unfortunately, the bays that are available at the moment are not suited for the needs of the long delivery trucks. That is the problem. That's a structural problem which the council needs to resolve by increasing the length of the bays so the big trucks can park nicely in there.
But what about
And
the
that is-
business?
Okay, so let-
That's not that park up their own cars.
last comments. I'm going to come back to you, Councillor Javid. All right, guys, let's talk about it. Thank you. So, Councillor Javid, let me just we run out of time. Okay, but Councillor Javid, just tell us when this consultation is starting, because it sounds like stakeholders here definitely have some feedback that needs to be processed by the councillors. It sounds like they've given feedback in the past, but it hasn't really been dealt with appropriately, they feel. What's next? We've got 25 seconds. Go for it.
The formal consultation starts next week. 6 weeks they've got now. Everybody's got to get this is the first time it'd be a formal consultation.
Where do they go? Online?
Online.
Council?
I will share it'll be on the website. It'll be on workshops. It'll be on social media. We'll make sure that Inspire get to promote it as well.
Okay.
So we will make sure all the stakeholders, the police, and part of that will be the business is absolutely right. Where the used to be smaller truck delivery, the loading bays need to be now 3 car lengths instead of 2.
We're out of time.
Absolutely right.
Listen, let me thank everyone in the studio here, the residents, the business owners, places of worship, councillors as well. Really appreciate your time having this really respectful discussion. The consultation is about to come out, and if anyone wants to give feedback, now is the time, and we'll share more in due course. Thank you, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Listeners, this has been Friday Night Live with me, Abdullah Preservic. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.